Part 12. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 111. Looking at the hills where the dust had not yet cleared, all the spectators of Xiaoguo and Eagle Sauce Country were silent. It's really unlucky. Siun sat on Yu Yu's back, and she hadn't calmed down until now. Gasping for breath. But she didn't know that the way she was pouting and angry now was even more cute. But it also reminded her of being watched by those boys when she was in Blue Star. It's not that no one confessed to her, but now in the second home, her temper is a little different from when she was in Blue Star. Experiencing this situation again, I almost didn't suppress the negative emotions in my heart. As expected, it exploded. Ha ha ha, Gongsun is angry about parting. I believe he won't dare to mess with you in the future. Good job, this is the temperament of my Xia country woman. I know that Gongsunli still likes the men of our Xia kingdom. I'm scared to death, it's the first time I've seen Gongsunli so angry. Looks like she's disgusted by the fact that people like her, ha ha ha. I'm laughing to death, ha 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 ha. But the saddest thing right now should be Eagle Sauce Country, right? Are William and Yanagi alive? I don't know, let's go to the door, and taunt. Xiaoguo's audience directly poured into the live broadcast room of Eagle Sauce Country. Hey, tell you, don't think about our grandson in the future. In the live broadcast room, there was still dust, and I couldn't see what it was like inside the temple. Ahem. Suddenly, there were two coughing sounds, and William's head appeared in the audience's sight. I saw that the originally handsome face had now become jet black, and the golden hair had lost its color. On the other side, Lu Xiaosheng's state looked even worse, and blood was still flowing from the corners of his mouth. Thankfully, neither of them died. It's just a little embarrassing. Hey! William roared angrily, and the surrounding air suddenly filled with sword aura. Boom! In an instant, the stones flew, and the gravel that pressed the two of them instantly turned into powder. Then William stood there with a confused expression, not knowing why. Originally, he knew that Gongsun was leaving, and he was very happy, but before he could run out to greet him, his palace was demolished. Could it be that you received an order from Xiaoguo? William remembered the barrage sent to him by the official of the Eagle Sauce Kingdom before, and thought that Gongsunli also came to demolish the palace because of the order of the Xia Kingdom. Thinking of this, his heart was a little uncomfortable. But it's not because his palace is uncomfortable, but because he feels uncomfortable for Gongsunli. Are you being threatened by your own country? Didn't they blame you for not killing me? William muttered in his mouth, and made a decision in his heart. In the future, he would only listen selectively to the orders of the Eagle Sauce Kingdom, and he would never do anything that was unfavorable to Gongsunli. Don't worry, I will become stronger and stronger, and with me in the future, I will never let anyone bully you. Seeing William's serious face, the audience in Eagle Sauce Country was about to go crazy. You're an idiot. William, you're still the best swordsman in our Eagle Sauce Country. People's grandsons haven't taken a fancy to you, it's not what you think. Xiaoguo won't interfere in anything with Gongsunli at all, you idiot. Sooner or later, our Eagle Sauce Country will be destroyed at the hands of William. If William provokes Gongsunli again, then Gongsunli will definitely not let him go. This nerd. The audience in the Eagle Sauce Country couldn't help but scold, and at this time, Yanagi Shida, who had been standing behind William, also frowned. He felt that the truth of the matter was not what William had imagined, but he could not think of any argument to refute it. The most important thing is that I don't dare to question it. Tonight. Where to stay? William looked at the lower and lower sun, looked at the ruins in front of him, and finally said something useful. And Gongsunli, who was hundreds of miles away, had just calmed down his mood, and he didn't know that William had misunderstood her. And the audience of Xiaoguo is also bitter and can't say it. Gongsunli has always made his own decisions, and now he has somehow become a threatened weakling? Yo, go down and rest, it looks like we're going to camp again tonight. Gongsunli looked at the night and didn't plan to walk at night, so he directly let Yo fall on the lowest land. I have to say that the environment here is really difficult, and it can't be compared with the Suanwei forest at all. There are very few fierce beasts, let alone any wild fruits. Gongsunli could only eat the food stored in the Na ring. Then, when it gets dark, I go to bed early. There was nothing to say all night, and when it was dawn the next day, Sun set off again. She wants to go back to Thousand Cave City and Suanwei Shrine to see the dragon eggs and the ancient tree of life, and then go to Baiun City for a walk. It was almost noon, and Gongsunli finally saw the small hill at the entrance to the dwarven world. It's just that outside the hill at this time, there is a team of men and horses standing in the black, and they are still holding weapons, and they are not dwarves at all. What race is this? Gongsunli's eyes widened. She was very sure that these people in front of her were not fierce beasts and demon clans. Horses and human bodies. Centaurs. That's right, the team in front of Gongsunli is exactly the form of a centaur in the cartoon, with the front half of the body exactly like a human, but the body of a horse behind him. However, this centaur looks a little amazing, and it turns out to be all women. With long black hair, only a few key parts of the body are covered, and the complexion is a little dark because of the barren hill climate. But it also makes them look more empowered. Each of them was armed with a shield and spear, and looked like an ancient warrior in the west. Da. The centaurs noticed Gongsunli's figure, and for a while, the sound of horses' hooves sounded, and they all aimed their spears at Gongsunli. Who are you? Gongsun asked puzzledly. Obviously they knew that this was the entrance to the dwarven world. But Gongsunli didn't have any accidents when he sensed the dwarf world, so he didn't do anything. However, it is clear that the hostility of the centaurs is very high. Wait a minute. At this moment, suddenly an urgent voice came from the mound. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 112. My own people. City Lord. Gina, it's all her own people. I saw Jeff, with grey hair and beard, rushing out of the hill. City Lord, Atonement, come in first, come in and I'll explain to you. Gina, tell your men to lay down their weapons. Jeff was sweating profusely and beckoned a dozen men and horses to lay down their weapons. City Lord, please, go in and take a rest. Then he beckoned Gongsun to leave first, and he walked in with Gina and the others in his mouth. In a moment, Jeff's house, which was empty at this point, had everything ready and loaded. When Gongsunli came in just now, he had already seen the convoy full of goods on the road. In the house, there are only Gongsunli, Jeff, and Gina, and the rest of the people are all standing in the courtyard. After all, there are too many people. City Lord, let me introduce you, this is Gina of the Centaur tribe and a friend of our dwarves. Jeff stood in front and spoke to Gongsunli, then turned to Gina. Gina, this is Lord Gongsunli, the City Lord of Thousand Cave City. You almost caused trouble just now. Jeff said with a little trepidation. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if he was one step late just now, and Gongsun would have left the shot. Although Gongsunli did not kill Jens last time, it left a good impression on him, but the king of one side has not been seen once in other places for hundreds of years. Not to mention that anyone can point a weapon at any given person. That's disrespectful. It's just that he doesn't know that Gongsunli doesn't take these things to heart at all. She never cares about them. Gina was stunned, because Gongsunli's first impression of her was that she was very beautiful, very youthful, and had a trace of the smell of demons on her body. She didn't expect that the little girl in front of her would be the Lord of Power. Lord of the city, I'm sorry, Gina was offended just now. Gina is not a person who twists and pleads, so she directly clenched her fists and pleaded guilty on the spot. Gongsunli nodded faintly, and then set his eyes on Jeff. What is the situation with the centaur appearing here now? Jeff was clever and hurriedly spoke. Lord of the city, the centaur tribe led by Gina is a friend of our dwarves and the only race on the surface of this barren hill. Yesterday I wanted to ask you for instructions, but you weren't there, so I took it upon myself to tell her the news of the relocation, and I wanted to ask the city lord if he could. Can you promise to let the centaurs also enter the Thousand Cave City? After Jeff finished speaking, he lowered his head. And Gina was also shocked. Jeff just sent someone to say that there was an urgent matter to find him, and did not say that it was such a big thing as moving. So she's shocked now. Jeff, you dwarves are moving. Gina said incredulously. You know, this is the barren hill, and 2 days ago, the barren hill has a lord. Aren't you afraid that the lord of the barren hill will come over? Hearing Gina's words, Jeff looked up at Gongsunli. It's okay, the temple of the lord of the barren hill, I demolished it for him yesterday. Gongsun left the corner of his mouth with a smile. And Gina was directly stunned. Wasteland Temple. You demolished. Gina couldn't accept it for a while. After seeing Gongsunli nodding, she was even more surprised. She didn't believe that such a big man would joke with her. How many of you are in the centaurs? More than 300, but only 200 can go to war. Gina replied dumbfounded, still in shock that she didn't come out. Not bad, 200 combat power. Gongsunli nodded with satisfaction. She had just seen the centaur clan. Gina's strength should be 4th order, and the other centaurs were also 3rd order. And one look at their dress, you know that they are belligerent. Thousand Cave City, there is just a lack of guards, although 200 people are a little less, but it is stronger than none at all, not to mention, this can be posted without training. The Thousand Cave City happens to be guarded yet. If you centaurs decide to move with the dwarves, they can give you a piece of land in the Thousand Caves. Gongsunli said as he took out a golden collar. Give you a pet collar, and if you've thought it through, put this on. Gina reached out and took the collar blankly. Things came so fast that even a decisive Gina couldn't react a little. Then, she didn't even know how she got out of the dwarven world. Gina, I hope you think about it. Tomorrow, we're leaving. Outside the hill, Jeff spoke to Gina. The two of them have been friends for 100 years, and they know what each other looks like. You also know that this barren hill is not suitable for habitation, and now the opportunity has come, and besides, isn't the number of your centaurs always rising? The most important thing is that Gongsunli, her identity is not simple. Gongsunli's identity. Gina was stunned for a moment, and Gongsunli's warm smiling face once again appeared in her mind. At such a young age, she is the Lord of Power, then she must not be simple. Then, Jeff returned to the dwarven world, leaving Gina and a dozen people here in a daze. Chief Gina, what's wrong with you? Lord of the city, some of the more valuable things are put in this ring, and the things on these cars are all used daily. Gongsunli was bored, so he came out to see how the dwarves were preparing. Jeff followed behind Gongsunli with the ring in his hand. This ring, but it is the only ring that has fallen all, and the space inside is 100 square meters. Gongsunli glanced at the ring in Jeff's hand lightly, and said, Is this ring rare? As soon as these words came out, Jeff froze in place. Lord, Castle. Aren't you kidding? Na ring is of course rare. Refining Na ring requires an empty spirit stone, but now this stone is priceless at all. We dwarves are relatively wealthy, and we only have one. Like Gina's centaur tribe, there is no one at all. Hearing Jeff's words, Sun suddenly understood a little in his heart. But she suddenly remembered, couldn't the pioneer of the Blue Star be able to open a cashier ring from the box? It seems that this is one of the benefits for the Blue Star pioneers. Gongsunli smiled. The world announcement hadn't sounded for a long time, but she already knew that the next time she saw the Blue Star pioneer, she was going to rob something. Huh. Suddenly, Gongsun paused from his feet, and then a smile leaked from his face. Lord Castle, the centaur are willing to follow you. Hearing Gina's voice in his head, Gongsunli said to Jeff. Remember to pick up Gina when you leave tomorrow. Then, he strode away with Yo-Yo. Jeff stood still. When did Gina say yes? Ha ha ha. It's so good, such an old friend, I'm really reluctant to part with it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 113. Time flickered, and another day passed. Early the next morning, Gongsunli set off with the dwarves. The mighty convoy looked a little spectacular, but fortunately there were no outsiders in this barren hill. And Gongsunli didn't see Jens again, and she didn't care what Jens was doing now. Gina leads the Centaur tribe and joins the relocation party halfway through. And the Centaur also served as the team's bodyguard and scout. Although these are a bit redundant for Gongsunli, the Centaur clan is still motivated. I didn't stop to rest for almost a day. Gina, get your team back, it's time to eat. Here, Jeff has organized the dwarves to cook a delicious meal. Lord of the city, it's time to eat, come down and rest. Jeff was busy beckoning everyone to rest. Gongsunli was not polite, looked at the steaming iron pot, and licked his tongue. Cooking in it were mushrooms she had taken from the Na ring, but the dwarves had spices and smelled good. This was the first time she had eaten a meal made in a pot since she arrived at her second home. Before, in addition to directly gnawing on it, it was barbecue, and there was no seasoning. It's not easy, I've got my first mouthful of soup. Seeing Gongsunli's enjoyment, the audience in the live broadcast room sighed. Indeed, there are times when indigenous people can be very helpful. Not to mention in the long run, at least you don't have to eat wild fruits and drink dew every day in the future. When they had eaten, the dwarves began to set up their tents. I've been walking all day today, and it's time to rest here in the evening. It is estimated that it will take 2 more days to reach Thousand Cave City. Jeff pulled out a map and looked at it by the firelight. There were too many of them to go fast, and this was without encountering wild beasts. Gina, you've worked hard all night. Jeff studied for a long time and felt a little sleepy, so he said hello to Gina, who was on duty at night, and got into the tent. The whole camp fell silent in an instant. And Gina was also looking at the bonfire in front of her in a daze, and from time to time she glanced at the figure lying on the big stone next to her. Gongsunli now feels very comfortable, and the stones have been in the sun for a day. The temperature difference in the barren hills is large, even if the outside world no longer affects her now. But she still felt warm and comfortable. Even the tent didn't go to sleep. A pair of long ears also drooped down, almost covering her face. At this time, her eyes were closed, and her eyelashes were particularly long. It looks a little charming. When Gina saw this, she suddenly wanted to go up and rub it twice. But there are also thieves who have the heart but not the courage of thieves. What's more, there is an unusual looking white deer next to it. Bang! Suddenly, there was a muffled sound, and the flower umbrella that Gongsun had been holding in his arms opened directly. It spun around in the air, and then landed firmly on Gongsunli's head. This scene stunned Gina, and the position of the flower umbrella just blocked her view of Gongsunli. Suddenly, Gina felt that she had been offended just now, and the grandson who had provoked her was unhappy. The flower umbrella just blocked the light of the bonfire, and Gongsunli behind the umbrella suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Bang! In the grassland, where there was no edge as far as the eye could see, a loud bang suddenly sounded. A lone wolf slowly fell to the ground. Upon further look, a girl riding a deer was still holding a smoking pistol in her hand. It was Gongsunli's party who had been on the road for 2 days. Oh! Seeing the wolf fall to the ground, several centaur warriors immediately rushed forward and carried the wolf's corpse back. The lord of the city is mighty. There was a cheer from the dwarves. Jeff, on the other hand, stared at the pistol in Gongsunli's hand with wide eyes, as if he had found some treasure. Lord Castle, this is the you have in your hand. Gongsun was stunned for a moment, then he remembered the talent of the dwarf clan, his heart moved, and he threw the pistol directly to Jeff. This is called a pistol, and generally second-order beasts can kill with one hit. Second-order beasts can be killed with one hit. Jeff cautiously looked at the pistol, his tone full of incredulity. In his experience, he could see at a glance that this thing had the same principle as the magic crystal cannon, but this one was more convenient to carry. Gongsunli saw that Jeff was fascinated, so he walked away directly. Anyway, this gun was in her hand, and it didn't work at all. It's better to hand it over to Jeff, maybe one day it will bring a wave of surprises to yourself. Thousand Cave City was right in front of them, and now the shadow of Thousand Cave City could be faintly seen where they were. Gongsunli couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After 2 days of walking, it's almost there. In the live broadcast room, the audience in Xiaguo was a little emotional, although it was only 2 days. But since the last time Gongsunli did not kill William and seize the fief, it's as if countries all over the world have tacitly agreed that Gongsunli will not kill people and plunder fiefdoms. Within 2 days, many countries began to build their own fiefdoms one after another. Reiki has also been revived for a while, and it is still alive in the vanguard. More or less transcendent abilities. Gongsun has heard a lot of world announcements about the establishment of fiefdoms recently. We have to speed up the plan. Sitting on Yo-Yo's back, Gongsunli muttered. After another half a day, the relocation team finally walked outside the Thousand Cave City. Looking at the dense defensive towers on the city wall, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect the defense of Thousand Cave City to be so perverted. Even in Baiyun City, the number of defense towers is not so large. Jeff's face was full of surprise. Gina, take over the guards of Thousand Caves? Siun stood at the front of the team and said to Gina. Good city lord. Gina's tone was a little excited, although she hadn't seen the scenery in the Thousand Cave City yet. But just looking at the city wall, the so-called guards are probably just decorations, which play a deterrent role, if anyone really dares to attack the Thousand Cave City. Those hundreds of towers aren't vegetarians. In any case, the environment here is countless times better than that of the barren hills. Okay, let's divide where we live today, and then talk about it another day. Jeff, I'll leave this to you. After entering the city, Siun pointed to the accommodation area next to him and instructed Jeff. This time, the entire migration of the two races will take 2 days just to rectify. I'm leaving, hoping that by the time I get back, you'll all be able to settle yourselves. After Siun finished speaking, he returned to the city lord's mansion and stored a part of the magic crystals obtained by the dwarf clan in the basement. Yo-Yo, you have been playing in the city for the past 2 days, and you will wait for me to come back. Patted Yo-Yo's head. Then Siun directly chose to return to the city. The Suanwei temple, which had been quiet for a long time, suddenly lit up with a blue light on the ground in the innermost room. And the ancient tree of life in the courtyard, a dragon egg soaked in the spring of life, seemed to sense something, and trembled imperceptibly. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 114. Gongsunli's figure instantly appeared in the Suanwei temple. Huh. As soon as she returned, she felt that something was wrong with the aura around her. In the air, there seemed to be an extremely large vitality in the air, and there was a hint of majesty that she was familiar with. The ancient tree of life. Sun immediately thought of the ancient tree of life, and a flash appeared in front of the ancient tree. Dragon eggs. Are you going to be born? Looking at the golden dragon egg that was swaying slightly in the spring of life, Sun felt a trace of excitement in his heart. It's a dragon. I saw that at this time, the entire dragon egg was completely wrapped in milky white life spring water, and the amount of this life spring water was significantly reduced. Sun, who was watching, felt a pain in his flesh. But thinking that a small dragon would hatch at that time, Sun would not be so entangled. Hey, you see, we're not really going to have dragons, are we? Ha ha ha. My Xia dynasty has really risen. It's just that the fountain of life is much less. What is this? If there is no spring of life, it will take at least 1,000 years for this dragon egg to hatch, right? But now you see that it will only be a few days before it comes out. Yes, yes, the dragon is the totem of our Xia kingdom. If it is really born, it will be invincible. Looking forward to it. In the Xiaguo live broadcast room, the audience was extremely excited at this time. Originally, the people of the Xia kingdom missed the old, and the appearance of the Suanwei temple was the same as the ancient buildings of the Xia kingdom. Every time Gongsun leaves here, he will have a sense of intimacy, but now with this dragon egg, he is even more excited. There was a faint glow on the dragon egg, as if it was greeting Sun. But beyond that, there was no movement. Isn't it time yet? Sun said lightly, stretched out his hand and gently touched the dragon egg, and a cool feeling immediately came from his fingertips. Buzz. The dragon egg also trembled for a while, indicating a response, which made Gongsunli laugh for a while. Xiaolong, you stay here now, I still have something to do. Gongsunli glanced at the dragon egg again, and walked out of the Suanwei temple directly, and the giant crocodile was still waiting for her below. Little crocodile. At the foot of the Suanwei mountain range, the giant crocodile rushed up happily to look at Gongsunli. And its body doesn't seem to be as dirty as before, at least, now Gongsunli can't smell the stench on its body. I don't know what method it used. At this time, its body is full of things. Those were the various materials and treasure chests it had collected in the Suanwei forest during this time, and Sun directly put them into the ring without even looking at them. It's okay to say that the materials will be thrown directly to the dwarves when the time comes, but the treasure chest is worth the money of the old nose, and no one knows if there will be anything in it. Thank you for your hard work, you can go with me this time, you don't have to guard here. Hearing Sun's words, the giant crocodile suddenly spun in circles, although he couldn't understand its expression, but anyone could see that happy expression. Foskey and Mullen shouldn't be back anytime soon, right? Sun tilted her head and said, it seems that she and the dwarves had just entered the grassland when they heard the world announcement that Foskey had occupied the fiefdom. It is estimated that Mullen has been with him all the time, and I am afraid that he will not have time to come back recently. However, Sun was not worried that the two would run away. Anyway, the better they mix, the better it will be when they come back and give them something to offer. Let's go to Vyang Palace. Sun jumped directly onto the giant crocodile's back, and the giant crocodile turned around and crawled into the lake with a bang, causing a large splash. Slow down, your clothes are wet. The giant crocodile didn't rush to sink into the water, so the water beads didn't work either. The splash of water splashed on Gongsunli's body, bringing a hint of coolness. Looking at the lake that was almost impossible to see, the giant crocodile was riding the wind and waves in the water, and Gongsunli suddenly laughed happily. I'm so envious. It's so carefree, and I kind of yearn for that. It would be nice if we could keep going like this. I've never seen Gongsunli smile so happily, she is really beautiful. It would be nice if there were a second home like this, and a peaceful life would be. Under the sun, Gongsunli's smile attracted the audience in the entire live broadcast room. This scene made everyone who watched the live broadcast feel a burst of warmth and healing. Little crocodile, go down. After playing on the lake for a long time, the giant crocodile turned over and headed straight towards the bottom of the lake like a cannonball. Night gradually fell, and the entire Suanwei forest once again fell into terrifying darkness. The lake reflects the shadow of the moon, which is as intoxicating as an anime. Gutude. The giant crocodile reappeared on the surface of the water, and Gongsunli sat on its back, but at this time, Gongsunli stared at the sky with a surprised face. I saw that the originally cold starry sky was slowly appearing at this time, and the golden light was still spreading, as if it was going to cover the entire sky. And it seems that this golden light also contains a special aura, which makes Gongsunli tremble a little when the giant crocodile under his feet trembles. And the source of that golden light turned out to be the top of Suanwei mountain. Dragon egg. Gongsun was startled, remembering the condition of the dragon egg during the day. Little crocodile, go back. Wow! The giant crocodile instantly moved forward at full speed, drawing a white spray on the surface of the lake. Golden skies, white waves, and countless people in Xia Kingdom who were so excited that they trembled all over their bodies constituted the most perfect painting at this time. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 115. Buzz. At the top of Suanwei mountain, the entire space seemed to be shaking. And the dragon egg in the center of the vibration had also broken away from the spring of life and floated in the air at this time. The golden light emitted by the dragon egg soared into the sky, and then spread out towards the four seas and eight desolations. Sun stood under the dragon egg and looked up. The golden afterglow fell on her, looking a little sacred, as if she was the ruler of heaven and earth. Before she came up, the giant crocodile had climbed at the foot of the mountain and couldn't stand up. It's as if it's been suppressed. And in the depths of the Suanwei forest, which she couldn't see, all the fierce beasts. Whether it was an overlord or an ordinary low-level fierce beast, they all lowered their heads facing the Suanwei mountain range at this time. It's as if you're kneeling down to your own king. The suppression of the bloodline made it impossible for them to stand up straight. The audience in the live broadcast room also stared at the dragon egg in the middle of the screen very seriously. Shocked, the legendary creature is about to appear in the Xia Kingdom, the dragon. On the Blue Star, the situation in Xiaguo's live broadcast room has been spread all over. At this moment, people from almost all countries poured into the Xiaguo live broadcast room. It's really amazing. Maybe in a few years, we will really be the descendants of the dragon in the future. Tonight will be a night that will go down in history. Dragon. In the official live broadcast room of Xiaguo, at this moment, except for the lord of the country standing in front of the screen with a few important people to watch, all the people behind him were busy. All kinds of creatures, nature, and even history experts all looked at the screen excitedly, and several more were added to the recorder alone. A total of dozens of recorders' fingers flew wildly on the keyboard, but their eyes never left the live broadcast screen, for fear of missing any important scenes and not recording. In the year 2060 of the Xia Kingdom, the grandson of the Xia Kingdom in the second home leaves the fiefdom Suanwei forest. At night, the sky is golden and birth. King. The recorder recorded the shocking moment on the computer with trembling hands. Click. Finally, there was a crisp sound from the dragon egg suspended in the air, like the sound of a chicken breaking its shell. At this time, even Gongsunli held his breath. With her eyesight, She could clearly see a crack in the eggshell that had just appeared. An even brighter golden light came from the crack in the eggshell, making it impossible for her to see inside. It's coming out. In the live broadcast room, Han Li couldn't help but scream directly. I've never been so excited. It's amazing. Omega, although we don't have a good relationship with Xiaoguo, but now I have to admit that they are indeed very powerful. After this time, I'm afraid the gap between us and Xiaoguo will be even greater. The dragon has been the totem of the Xia kingdom for thousands of years, but now, this totem is about to come true. I can't believe that there really are dragons in this world. To put it mildly, even now, I can't believe what I'm seeing is real. I don't want to see the Xia kingdom rise, but I'd love to see what the dragon they worship as a god looks like. The entire Blue Star is all paying attention to Xiaoguo's live broadcast room at this time. Click. A few more cracks appeared, and even more violent golden light overflowed from the dragon egg. Now, even Gongsunli can't see the true appearance of the dragon egg. The entire dragon egg had been flooded with golden light, and if it hadn't been for the fact that it was an egg in the first place, I am afraid that it would have been regarded as a ball of light. But Gongsunli clearly felt that the energy contained in this light cluster was getting bigger and bigger. Moreover, close. Gongsunli's eyes widened, and she felt that the thing in the golden light seemed to have a special connection with herself. And it seems that the thing is extraordinarily dependent on itself. It's like father's love. Click. Click. Suddenly, a continuous cracking sound sounded, and the light cluster seemed to be affected, and countless golden points of light fell from it. Gongsunli was standing directly below, and the light fell on her head and clothes, and in an instant she looked like an elf. Against the backdrop of the night, this moment is beautiful and moving. Buzz Zheng. Eventually, the light began to shrink, as if it had been attracted by something. However, the shape of this light cluster slowly became more and more humanoid. Gongsunli opened his mouth in surprise. Won't it? Just out of the shell is the shape of a human. Is the dragon really that powerful? As if he heard Gongsunli's voice, the speed at which the light group contracted suddenly became faster. Slowly, feet, calves, thighs, and then torso. At this time, even the people in the live broadcast room can see that the golden light is in the shape of a person. It's just that this figure is very small, about a meter tall, and now it can't see anything except a human figure, because it is still wrapped in golden light. Zheng. Another magnificent voice sounded, and I saw that the golden light in the sky was as if it had received an order, and slowly retreated like a tide. Time passed, and slowly, the originally obscured starry sky regained its original color. The golden light in the sky just now has all returned to the golden figure. And the golden figure that had been suspended in the air finally trembled. Suddenly, the golden light that enveloped the figure began to slowly dissipate, and it turned into particles and dissipated in the night sky. And that figure also revealed her true face. I saw a little lorry who was less than 1 meter tall standing in the air with a confused face, a small face round and cute. Long black hair drooped down to the waist. On her head, there is a pair of horns like yo-yo. Don't think about it, this is the dragon horn, which looks a little hideous. The whole person looks like a cute little girl. On her body, she was wearing a white dress trimmed with gold trim, which looked extremely noble and pure. Huh. Suddenly, Xiao Nanan saw Gongsunli standing below, and her eyes lit up. Hug, hug. The little girl shouted inarticulately. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 116. I want to hug. Gongsunli looked at the little girl who pounced over, and subconsciously stretched out his arm. Ding. At the moment when Xiao Nanan threw herself into Gongsunli's arms, the world proclamation rang. Congratulations to Gongsunli, the pioneer of the Xia kingdom, for obtaining the sacred dragon clan. The average life expectancy of all members of the Xia kingdom is +1. The dragon vein of the Xia kingdom has been promoted, and he has been promoted to the yellow rank high dragon vein. A series of world announcements sounded, and a lot of golden light was fed back into Gongsunli's body. At this moment, the dragon chi on Gongsunli's body also increased greatly, and there was a kind of nobility in his gestures. It can also be said to be a kind of imperial spirit. The two people who are hugging each other now look like an empress and a princess, mysterious and noble. But what's even more shocking is the girl who came out of the dragon's egg. Inside the dragon egg, a little girl with pink carvings came out. This is the dragon lady. Oh my god, I thought it would be a giant dragon, but I didn't expect it to be such a cute little dragon girl. According to what the Dragon Clan Secret Realm said last time, this little female dragon is the last dragon in the world, right? God's little she-dragon. This is a princess. Look at them hugging each other, it's so cute. Aw. I don't know when I'll grow up. The audience of Xiaguo looked at the dragon girl lying on Gongsunli's chest, and smiled at her aunt. And the foreign audience was dumbfounded. Their country does not have the ancient myths and legends of the Xia kingdom, and they don't know anything about the little dragon girl at all. Isn't that a dragon egg? Why did a little girl come out? And this little girl has black hair and black eyes, which is the same as the characteristics of Xia Quarren. I know, in the myths and stories of the Xia kingdom, this is the dragon girl, the daughter of the dragon king. It's a magical country, but a second home is even more magical and can make myths come true. Wait. Is it possible that the myths and stories of our country are also true? Creator God and angels. The most important thing is that the birth of this dragon girl can actually bring rewards to the real world. The direction of attention of foreign audiences has gradually changed, and they have seen that the ancient myths of the Xia kingdom have appeared. They couldn't help but be a little anxious. But unfortunately, they will most likely not be able to see the true God of their country. Little girl. Feeling the warmth on his chest, Gongsunli gradually eased up. Probably because she was just born, the dragon girl's golden dragon horns were still a little soft and not hard enough. The dragon girl buried her whole little face in front of Gongsunli's chest, and Gongsunli could even feel the hot breath exhaled from her nose. However, because the dragon horns on her head were too big, Gongsunli couldn't look down at her if he wanted to. Can only passively hold this soft body, enjoying the dependence from the other party. And the dragon girl was also very greedy to suck the fragrance from Gongsunli's body. The scene fell silent for a while. The dragon girl is enjoying it, but Gongsunli is a little overwhelmed. I've never brought any kids. Even though she felt comfortable holding the dragon girl now, it still didn't stop her from being confused. Still can't change the fact that she was a straight man of steel in her last life. Sin, you have to hold on. Sin is extremely happy now. Fortunately he is now Gongsunli's body, otherwise he would really be out of the ocean. Suddenly, she felt the dragon maiden, who had been quiet, shake. Tired. Sleep. Before Sin could react, the dragon girl spit out a few words indistinctly and then stopped moving. Then, the dragon girl suddenly turned into a small golden dragon dozens of centimeters long without warning. Circled twice under Gongsunli's surprised gaze. A flash of light vanished. Gongsunli felt that his right arm was warm, as if something was over. Then he lifted his sleeve directly, and found that a dragon-shaped pattern appeared on his arm. It's like a tattoo, but it's golden. Feeling the fluctuations of the pattern, a warm smile appeared on the corner of Gongsunli's mouth. She knew very well that this pattern was the little girl just now. As the dragon girl disappeared, the entire Suanwei forest returned to calm, and the fierce beast felt that terrifying aura disappear. They also scattered around, but the giant crocodile at the foot of the mountain glanced thoughtfully at Suanwei mountain. Is it sacred? At the top of the mountain, Gongsunli sat on one of the roofs of the temple, looking down at the pattern on his arm. In the moonlight, the thin figure looks a little lonely. But only at this time did she have time to take a good look at the information in the world announcement just now. With a divine beast, she knows better than anyone how difficult it is for a beast to transform into a beast. But this dragon girl was born in human form, but it seems that she can't maintain her human form for a long time. But this is enough to show that there is a one-word difference between the divine and the divine beast, but the difference is infinite. No. What is this? Suddenly, Gongsunli found that in his ring, this time there were not only 2 more pieces of Qi Shuelingzu's skin fragments, but also a red dress. There are already 6 fragments of Qi Shuelingzu, and Gongsunli didn't pay too much attention to it. After all, as long as they are collected, they can be used. But the red dress caught her eye. It looks familiar, and there is a red maple leaf pattern on the dress. Isn't this the clothes Ali wore when he danced in Changelfang? Sun was stunned, no wonder she felt so familiar. This dress is a bit like Gongsunli's original leather, but it is much more complicated than the original leather. She remembered that there was an animation of Gongsunli dancing on stage, and Gongsunli was wearing this dress. Tisk. Good looking is good looking, but what does it mean to give me this? Are you afraid that I'll get tired of wearing a piece of clothing? Sun muttered to himself. Then, he turned over and entered the room. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 117. The entire Suanwei mountain peak returned to calm. The audience in the live broadcast room saw that Gongsunli had gone into the house to sleep, so they also quieted down. But on the international network, the popularity of the birth of the golden dragon of Xia has just risen. People all over the world are discussing Dragon Lady online. Because all the information about the dragon girl has not been released, all people can see is a small girl who can be transformed into a dragon tattoo. Time passed quickly, and before you knew it, the next day's sun had risen. Xiaoguo's live broadcast room is crowded with people at the moment. A lot of people didn't catch up with the dragon girl yesterday, so they all came over today. The rising sun shines on the Suanwei temple. The black tiles on the roof shine brightly. It's like a landscape in an anime, it's incredibly charming and healing. The audience in the live broadcast room watched this beautiful scenery with great enjoyment. Squeak. Suddenly, there was a soft sound, and the door to one of the temple's rooms was pushed open. The next moment, all the viewers in the live broadcast room widened their eyes in shock. The figure they remembered wearing a short pink skirt, small black leather boots, and holding an umbrella in his hand did not appear. What caught their eyes was a sleek foot and a white calf. Then, a red figure came into their eyes. Gongsunli was wearing yellow underwear, his entire thighs were leaking into the air, and he walked out wearing a red skirt printed with maple leaves. The short brown hair also turned into long hair, and the long ears did not have any more decorations. It looks like an extremely gentle lady. The expression on his face seemed to have a trace of ignorance that he hadn't woken up. At this moment, it hit the hearts of the audience. Is this a change of clothes? Well, it feels so gentle, I love it. Oh my God, it's too good for such a grandson. It gives me the feeling of a big sister next door, and I think this dress looks better than the previous one. Xiaoguo woman, sure enough, no matter how strong she is gentle in her bones. I must find a girlfriend in Xiaoguo. Gongsun is dressed up like this. Brothers, it's fallen. My dad didn't even hold me, I already licked it. Me too, my mom asked me why my home computer screen was wet. It's been screenshotted, it's so beautiful, I'm going to watch it 100 times a day. The world. How can there be such a beautiful woman? It's like a wife waiting for her husband to come home, which makes people's hearts feel warm. At this time, Gongsunli was wearing the same outfit that had been in the ring yesterday. Obviously, in this context, this dress is like loungewear. And there are no more messy cosmetics on his face, and even the majesty of last night's dragon chi blessing is gone. It's completely a gentle image of an ancient woman. Made all the male viewers in the live broadcast room can't help but shout their wives. In addition to Xiaoquan, even foreign audiences were immersed in Gongsunli's temperament and beauty at this time. For a moment everyone forgot that they were here to see the Dragon Maiden. And it just so happened that at this time, Gongsunli stood in the courtyard and stretched. The loose sleeves of the red robe slipped down the arms, just leaking the golden dragon pattern on the forearm. The golden dragon motif sparkles in the sunlight. "Good morning, little girl." Looking at the pattern on his arm, Gongsunli's voice was a little sweet. Until now, she didn't go to see what the dragon girl was capable of, nor did she think of naming the dragon girl. "How am I going to wake you up?" Thinking of the softness in his arms last night, Gongsun moved and walked straight to the ancient tree of life. The branches of the ancient trees are still unripe, but the amount of fountains of life has been reduced by a third. Sun knew that this was the previous dragon egg birth that had absorbed all of it. It is enough to see how strong the vitality of this dragon girl is. You must know that Gongsunli was only a small bite at that time, and he had undergone earth-shaking transformation. But even so, Gongsunli still squatted beside the fountain of life. Then he scooped up a small handful of the fountain of life with his little hand and poured it on the pattern of his right arm. "Little girl, can you still come out?" Gongsunli looked down at the pattern on his hand, and a pair of ears also drooped. The spring of life flowed down, and suddenly a refreshing feeling spread throughout the body. Hum. The dragon shadow on his arm seemed to feel Gongsunli's intentions, and a light lit up slightly. "Sister. I'm so tired." The spring of life flowed down Gongsunli's arm to the ground, and the voice of the dragon girl sounded in Gongsunli's heart. "Can't you get out? The reason for the birth? And the fountain of life is not even absorbed." Gongsunli blinked, although he was a little disappointed, but he was also happy to know that the dragon girl was fine. Probably because she has dragon energy in her body, she feels that there is a trace of intimacy between her and the dragon girl. "No, she called me sister just now." Gongsun was stunned for a moment, remembering the voice in his heart just now. If he heard it correctly, he should have called his sister "this little one." Gongsunli chuckled, and went directly to the roof with the force under his feet. The Dragon Maiden was born, and her original plan to leave for Thousand Cave City today was also cancelled. She wanted to wait for the dragon girl to stabilize a little before she spoke. "At the very least, you have to figure out the state of the dragon girl." Thinking of this, she directly took out the treasure chest that the giant crocodile had collected during this time from the ring. "If you have nothing to do, then open the treasure chest." So, under the rising sun, a girl in a red dress, under the gaze of billions of people in the live broadcast room, slowly opened the treasure chest in front of her. It's just that from time to time, you can hear a few chuckles from the girl. I can see that I am in a good mood. I just don't know why she's laughing. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 118. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it is 2 days. In the past 2 days, Gongsunli has built 3 more defense towers, and the materials collected by the giant crocodile have been completely consumed. Those treasure chests have all been opened, and the contents are for the current Gongsunli. It's really too chicken, but happily, 2 ordinary rings are also prescribed. This can be regarded as the only comfort for Gongsunli. After all, she now knew the rarity of the ring, and now only the pioneers from the Blue Star could easily get them in the treasure chest. Maybe this second home will be updated again, and maybe there will be no treasure chest benefit. At that time, the pioneers of Blue Star and the natives of this world will really be on the same starting line. But obviously, this treasure chest did allow many people to overtake in corners. For example, before Fusky and Malin, in the past 2 days, the Lord of Xia country also sent a barrage to Gongsun. Both Fosky and Mullen now have their own fiefdoms, but their fiefdoms are not very well located. In addition to finding materials for defense towers, you also need to find materials for building city walls. But happily, Nafosky also used a pet collar to capture a super powerful beast as his pet. It can be said that the alliance of Xia Kingdom has been developing in a good direction recently. On the other side, William and Yanagi are not so good. A week has passed, and the Lord of the Eagle Sauce country can't wait to tell William about Gongsunli's abduction of the Barren Hill natives. William has also visited his fiefdom in the past few days, and indeed found traces of people living in some places. But he didn't take it to heart. If you want to build your own power ahead of everyone, then I'll help you. Whatever you want, as long as I have it. William said with an infatuated face, and the angry Lord of Eagle Sauce couldn't wait to kill him directly through the screen. The Lord of the Eagle Sauce country had already told William that Gongsunli hated him, but William didn't want to believe it. I still think that the idea that Gongsunli is threatened is correct. William's attitude towards Gongsunli amazed people all over the world. There was really no way, Sakura country had to tell Yanagi to let him do William's job, but where did Yanagi dare to speak? Gongsunli, it is this man's reverse scale, he dares to say that Gongsunli is not good. I am afraid that he will be on the street immediately. Look, sooner or later, Sakura country will end up with our beautiful country. The beautiful country that went back to the 60s and 70s could not help but happen at this time. They were the most angry. The alliance of 3 countries, as a result, is now directly out of the game itself. So I can't wait for Yanagi to be killed too. The remarks of the beautiful country directly aroused the dissatisfaction of the cherry blossom country. In the past, the Sakura country was the minions of the beautiful country, but now, the Sakura country is far more powerful than the beautiful country. What's more, Yanagi is still in his second home. As long as there is a discovery, the national strength of the Sakura country will increase. So he leaked his fangs directly to the beautiful country, saying that they will be a little more secure internationally. Countries across the globe are quietly watching their former allies turn into enemies. The angry beautiful country shouted wow, but no one cared, because now as long as the pioneer is still in the second homeland, there is a chance to overtake. But he is a beautiful country, and this last chance is gone. In everyone's eyes, the demise of the beautiful country is only a matter of time. Unconsciously, the situation in the world has been quietly changing because of a grandson. And Gongsunli, at this time, finally felt it. The dragon shadow, which had been quiet on his arm for 2 days, finally moved. In the antique room, a flash of golden light suddenly flashed. Imperial sister. A little Lori with a beautiful pink carving threw herself directly into Gongsunli's arms. Little girl. Gongsunli held the dragon girl in his arms with one hand and touched the dragon horn on her head with the other. At this time, the dragon's horns were much harder than the last time. Gongsunli did not bother with the title of the dragon girl, because she and the dragon chi in the dragon girl's body were originally of the same root. She remembered very well that the dragon chi had split into 2, half of which went into her body and half into the dragon egg. It's just that because the dragon clan was born to be the king, the dragon girl itself has a trace of nobility. Seeing this scene, the audience in the live broadcast room felt a trace of warmth. It's Got a family in another world. It seems to be. I'm so envious, why am I not the pioneer of our Xia kingdom? Don't dream, if you were really a pioneer, I don't know if you could live until now. It's a magical world. Maybe we Xia people may really have something to do with the dragon clan in ancient times. I don't know why, at this moment, all the people of the dragon kingdom feel that the dragon girl is their relatives. Come, stand still and let me see you. After a while, Gongsunli pushed the dragon girl away and took a good look at the dragon girl's appearance. She felt that the aura in the dragon girl's body was different from when she was first born, and now she should be able to transform into a human form for a long time. Still, she had questions. Baby, can you change your original appearance now? Hearing Gongsunli's words, the dragon girl glanced around and said gluttonously. Yes, but Sister Huang, you're too small here to fit me. The dragon girl's tone was a little aggrieved. Gongsunli's eyes widened, and he couldn't fit it? Isn't that big? Let's go out and see what you are. After that, he directly pulled the dragon girl and walked out. Sister Huang. In the courtyard, the dragon girl smiled at Gongsunli, and her small body instantly rose into the air. A golden light flashed, and a golden dragon instantly appeared in the sky. No, it's a bit reluctant to say that the dragon is still a little reluctant, but the 100-meter body is surprising enough. And even if it turns into a dragon, it looks a little delicate. At the same time, it does not lose the majesty of the dragon family. This dragon looks exactly like the legend. Nice mount. Alright, come down. Gongsunli took a look at it, and he had a bottom in his heart, so he called the dragon girl to come down. How is the imperial sister? The dragon girl turned into a lowly shape and fell directly into Gongsunli's arms from the sky. There was a bit of pride in his tone. That's good. Gongsunli smiled and touched the dragon girl's head. Okay, how about I take you out tomorrow? Gongsun is almost away from seeing the dragon girl now, and his plan is about to begin. Great, Sister Huang, I haven't gone out yet. Giggles, okay, if you want to go out to play, you have to change your name first, you can't call me Sister Huang outside. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 119. In the end, the two reached an agreement, and the dragon girl called Gongsunli's sister. Although Gongsunli was still a little uncomfortable, he was not happy to see the dragon girl, so he didn't force it. But the title of sister is not bad, at least, it is not as shocking as the imperial sister. At night, the dragon girl and Gongsunli squeezed into the same bed, feeling the small body in her arms, and Gongsunli soon fell asleep quietly. Early the next morning, two beauties, one big and one young, sat up from the bed in a daze. It's really a blessing for 3 lives, if only this were my wife and child. Ha ha ha, although my wife is not as beautiful as her grandson, I can see the scene every day. It's enviable. Sister. The dragon girl squinted her eyes and hung on Gongsunli early in the morning. Well, get up. Gongsun didn't change his clothes, and walked out directly with the dragon girl in his arms. Come, open your mouth. In front of the ancient tree of life, Gongsunli scooped up the spring of life. And the dragon girl came alone. The dragon girl felt the sweetness in her mouth, squinted her eyes and smiled. She was about to leave here, and Sun knew that this dragon girl didn't need to eat to replenish her energy. But I still want to drink a few sips of the spring of life, after all, it is also put. And the dragon girl is so cute and pampered. The audience in the live broadcast room who watched the scene was in pain. This. Fairy days. Why? She can drink such a precious fountain of life. I'm really envious, a sip of life spring water every day, it's beautiful. Don't scream, if you think your body can't stand it, can you drink the spring of life every day? I'm afraid you can't stand 2 drops. After the two of them finished cleaning up, Gongsunli did not change his clothes, and directly took the red bamboo umbrella and took the dragon girl to the edge of the cliff. Hold it tight. Gongsunli protected the girl in his arms with one hand, and held the red umbrella in the other, and jumped off the cliff. 2 minutes later, the giant crocodile, who had been at the foot of the mountain, glanced up at the sky and silently took a few steps back. The next moment, a red figure landed directly on the back of the giant crocodile. Little crocodile, take the waterway, let's go. The crocodile glanced up, looked at the girl curled up in Gongsunli's arms, and then crawled towards the lake. This time, Gongsunli can be said to have dispatched all of them, placing all the centers in Thousand Caves City. It is conceivable that in the near future, this city related to the King continent will be extremely brilliant. 2 days later, a black shadow carrying a red figure appeared outside the Thousand Caves City. It was the giant crocodile and Gongsunli. There was a sound of hooves falling to the ground in the city, and then Gongsunli saw Yo-Yo, who flew out to greet her. Yo-Yo let out a cheerful chirp in the sky, and suddenly found that she was still holding a little guy in Gongsunli's arms. The pupils were filled with doubt. Yo-Yo jumped directly onto the giant crocodile's back, and the giant crocodile seemed to be excited when he saw his former good friend, and even the speed was faster. And an inconspicuous green light flashed at the center of Yo-Yo's eyebrows, and the star spring activated, directly linking the vitality of the dragon girl together. The gate of the Thousand Caves City had already been opened at this time. Gina led the men and horses guarding the city, and stood at the gate of the city with a confused expression, looking at the behemoth in the distance. 7. Seventh Order. Chief, we're not mistaken, are we? A centaur woman asked, opening her mouth wide. And Gina just shook her head blankly. She just felt a huge vitality hidden behind her. But it was absolutely impossible to be the giant crocodile in front of her, because she had already felt the vitality of this giant crocodile. But at this moment, the huge vitality is much thicker than the giant crocodile. The lord of the castle is back. Jeff also ran over with the dwarves at this time, and looked at the people from outside the city in surprise. Has the city lord changed his clothes? When he saw Gongsunli's figure clearly, such a sentence appeared in Jeff's mind. A moment later, in the square of Thousand Caves City, it was densely packed with people. That's all the centaur and dwarf people. In the past few days, the entire Thousand Caves City has taken on a new look compared to before. In addition to the added popularity, the streets and empty houses everywhere look much cleaner. And there are many more things that Gongsunli can't understand. Those are the organs of the dwarf race, and this city seems to have the shadow of a big city. And there is also a hint of the feeling of a military fortress. It's all the dwarves' work. Although they and the centaurs lived in only one corner of the city, the entire city was cleaned. This also made Siun's mood a lot better. Now, in the square of Thousand Caves City, everyone is staring intently at Gongsunli and the little dragon girl on the stage. As for the giant crocodile, it crawled on the side of the square, and it was too big. It seems that the city lord must be more mysterious than I imagined. The demon seed is really a magical race. Jeff stood at the front of the dwarves, thinking to himself. These are the heritage and strength of our Thousand Caves City. Gongsunli pointed at the giant crocodile and spoke. The strength of the seventh order of the giant crocodile is already considered to be a leader, and it is absolutely no problem to be a small overlord anywhere. But now, it looks like the guardian beast of Thousand Caves City. In the last few days, I have seen all of your transformations of Thousand Caves City. I hope everyone is happy living in Thousand Caves City, although the city is still a bit monotonous now, but in the future, it will definitely surpass the so-called Baiun city. Gongsunli's tone was a bit sonorous. Yes, it was to surpass Baiun city. The dwarves and centaurs in the audience were stunned. Baiun city was already the most powerful city in their minds. However, when they thought of Gongsunli's strength, they felt that this might really come true one day. In 2 days, I'm going to leave here, and then the little crocodile will stay here with Gina. Jeff, you're in for a problem with the dwarven research. Missing materials, I'll figure it out. Gongsunli arranged. She knew very well how important it was to love to study dwarves comparable to extraordinary scientists, and she would not be less surprised when she came. After that, Gongsun turned around and disappeared directly into the square. 2 days later, on the city wall of Thousand Caves, Gongsunli, who had changed back into a pink short skirt, and the dragon girl sat on Yo-Yo's back one after the other, and left here directly. This time, she is going to the so-called White Cloud City to find the secrets of this world and the vanished demon seed. It is rumored that the most powerful demon seed can turn over 108,000 miles with one heel. In her mind, there was still echo of what Jeff had said to her yesterday. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 120. The second home, one of the 7 main cities, Baiun City. The city wall is dozens of meters high, and the length is even more than a glance, and the flags planted on it are fluttering in the wind. Outside the city is a moat more than 3 meters wide, but the water is black, and the water is constantly bubbling on the water. It makes people feel panicked at a glance, and it seems that there is something terrifying hidden underneath. At the gate of the city, countless convoys and passers-by entering and leaving the city were in an endless stream. It looks like a bustling scene, and you can imagine how lively the city should be. It's like an ancient city. It's just that the convoy here is not pulling horses, but fierce beasts like horses, but there is a black bump on the head, which looks a lot tougher. The people here call him Black Mane. The gates were guarded by armored soldiers on both sides. It's just that the armor of these soldiers is too unusual, from head to toe, and every part of the body is wrapped in it. It makes people can't see clearly, and with a spear in his hand, a deterrent force naturally comes out. It's just that their strength seems to be only of the 3rd order. Gongsunli stood in the distance with Yu and sighed, I have to say that just by seeing these people now, I don't know where to kill the Thousand Caves city in seconds. But if it is said that this fortification and guard, the Thousand Caves city is not far behind. If the people of Blue Star knew that Gongsun was comparing Baiun city with Thousand Caves city, I am afraid that they would directly scold him. A city that has been inherited for I don't know how many years, you dare to compare with a foreigner who hasn't done anything? Please take a look at the Blue Star compatriots who came with you. The leader of the guards of White Cloud City suddenly noticed a pink figure appear in his sight. When he raised his head, he saw Gongsunli standing on the other side of the bridge. Then the leader was stunned. It was the first time he had seen such a dress, and it was the first time to come to Baiun City to see her style. However, the leader didn't keep his eyes on Gongsunli, but just amazed in his heart and refocused his attention on the door. It's just that Gongsunli's figure has been deeply remembered in his mind. However, the other guards at the gates of the city discussed it. It seems to be from the demon clan, and it's still a charming rabbit demon, but it's the first time I've seen it like this. Although the demon clan is very common in our Baiun city, the demon clan dressed like this is definitely not simple, don't offend. Look at her dear, it should be a mount, right? But it's quite rare, I haven't heard of a new power demon clan anywhere recently. It's possible that she is the princess of the old demon clan, right? Hey, what you're saying is reasonable, but it looks like a bit of a superior. She has seen it, don't discuss it, just don't see it, we can't afford to mess with it. Even though the surroundings were very lively, Gongsunli was still separated by the moat and completely listened to the discussion of several guards. But she didn't care, she had been standing here for a long time, and even the people passing by next to her cast puzzled glances at her. It's not uncommon to have mounts, there are a lot of people with mounts, and there are mounts of any kind of shape, so yo-yo is not conspicuous. But what she wore was too unusual. Smack! With a crunch, the little leather boot stepped onto the bridge over the moat. And what was hidden in the moat, as if it had been frightened by something, the bubbles that kept popping up on the surface of the water stopped for a moment. But no one noticed the momentary change in the moat. Only Gongsunli looked at the moat seemingly casually. In Bayun City, in a dimly lit room, a shadow covered in a black robe suddenly opened its eyes. This breath. On the other side, in a secret room, a strong tiger-headed man turned into the image of a middle-aged man in an instant. Lips trembled. Magic. Demon seed. The largest inn in the city, the storyteller was talking happily on stage. On the second floor of the inn, there was a handsome young man looking at the bustling street downstairs. Demon seed. Did you come in? It's funny, it's a demon seed that I've never seen before. With that, just drink the tea on the table. And Gongsunli, at the moment of passing through the city gate, his eyebrows were unconsciously raised. This Bayun city seems to be much more interesting than I imagined. Gongsunli looked at the wide main road, and his mood also changed a little. Yo-yo, let's go. After a brief look, he walked directly to the city with Yo-yo. Take a look, Tiger Man mask. Freshly baked pancakes, come and try it. New dishes are launched. Not delicious, no money. The most prosperous street in Bayun City, where you can see all kinds of vendors, and the road is crowded with people. Amazingly, there are not only humans here, but also all kinds of beasts with fierce beast heads, and some strange-looking people. In short, there is everyone who has it. Hey, this place looks like our country in ancient times. Well, there are humans, and humans are still the ones who do the most business here. Haha, I saw that there are sugar gourds that are sold, so can we also sell sugar gourds in the past? Damn, I only saw humans in Bayun City, how rare are humans here? It's really rare, this big city, it really looks like a movie. In the live broadcast room, seeing the scene of Bayun City, the audience discussed it one after another. And Gongsunli, I don't know whether it was intentional or unintentional, actually walked in front of the largest inn in Bayun City. Bayun Inn. Gongsunli glanced up at the inn signboard. Bayun Inn is a place integrating tea house, hook bar, eating and lodging. During the day, it is often full, because the storyteller of this Bayun Inn is really knowledgeable about astronomy and geography. Of course, these are empty rumors, and most people just think they are just hype. But it's true that the storyteller is right, so no one mocks him with this, and everyone is willing to give the storyteller a face. However, Gongsunli knows that the storyteller is definitely not simple. Bang! Speaking of this mysterious master, that is really worthy of a word, peerless elegance. Standing at the door of the inn, Gongsunli heard the voice of the storyteller. Then he frowned, and the Lord of Suanwei. Isn't that what she means? Hey, come on, how is this newly appointed master of Suanwei so peerless? That is, although we all know that there is a new mystical master, how can you see such a mysterious existence? You just keep blowing, as long as you say it well, even if it's blowing, I'm happy to give a reward. So many people in the city don't know who the new Lord of Suanwei is, just do you know? If you know astronomy and geography, if you know, say it, if you don't know, don't talk nonsense, otherwise be careful that the Lord of Suanwei will trouble you. In the inn, there was a lot of noise for a while. But the old man with the fan on the stage was still smiling. You don't know, although this mysterious lord is a woman, but she is also a person of temperament, and she is not indistinguishable from good and evil, so you don't have to worry about the safety of the old and decayed. Haha, if you want to know, then come back next time, the old man is old. With that, the storyteller waved his fan directly, turned around and left. And the people listening to books in the inn really exploded at this moment. What nonsense are you talking about? The Lord of Suanwei is a woman. You are not ashamed to be an old man. You dare to insult the Lord of the Mysteries like this. You will lose your head. However, this old man has never deceived people, this. Could it be true? Gongsunli stood at the door and looked at the back of the storyteller, with a trace of doubt in his eyes. How can an ordinary person know this? Suddenly, Gongsunli looked up thoughtfully at the second floor of the inn. Humph. Then he snorted softly and walked in with his legs raised. Stay. Seeing Xiao Er coming over, Gongsunli directly threw out a gold brick.